welcome back to my channel. My name is Ashley and I am the crochet designer slash business strategist here behind A Crafty Concept. In today's video, I have a brand new free crochet pattern for you. Okay, I say brand new. It's designed after a pattern that's already live on my blog. If you've been around here for a while, you know that I do that a lot. But a while ago, I released this crochet pattern, the Crafty Boho Bobble blanket made with super bulky yarn. Chunky yarn, really big hook, really chunky finished, warm, fun, cozy blanket. Today I'm releasing the worsted weight version. So if working with chunky yarn is not your ideal project, or if you have a whole bunch of worsted weight yarn in your stash that is just screaming, make me a blanket, this pattern is for you. In today's video, we're not gonna work up the entire blanket because that would take us 2 weeks of watching videos together here on YouTube. So I will be making a swatch of this blanket to show you how each step is done. I've already created a sizing chart for you guys. So you're gonna get 4 sizes for this blanket. Theoretically, they should all work because of math. You know, math is always right. So I will share that on my screen once we get started. I will tell you all the things that you need to make this once we get started. And you can see it does have a faux fur trim, which I love. This is Red Heart's Hygge fur yarn. So it's like a thin fur, not a big chunky fur. You could do just a regular single crochet with worsted weight yarn if you wanted to, if the furry isn't your ideal style, but I will say this furry yarn super forgiving because it hides your like stitches or mistakes. So I really enjoy using furry yarn for trims, especially when you're working on the raw side of your work. So we'll get to that here in a minute when we dive into the pattern. Let's hop on over to my table and see what you need to make this gorgeous, soft, squishy, like really stretchy worsted weight version of the Crafty Boho Bobble blanket. To make this blanket, you are going to need the yarn of your choice. So all of the gauge swatching and the chart that it's included with this pattern was made with Yarn Bee Soft and Sleek from Hobby Lobby. This one is in the color Spice. It is beautiful. Some of the stuff might be slightly different if you use a different yarn. This yarn is a little bit thicker than I love this yarn, but I will talk about that throughout the video. You can use any worsted weight that you want. I just want to help you be mindful about your finished piece size. But I used Yarn Bee Soft and Sleek. It is a superior yarn. It is low pill, which means it's not as fuzzy, which is perfect for blankets that are used and loved on a lot. You're also going to need a J 6.0 millimeter crochet hook. This is Clover & More brand. It is my favorite hook brand to work with. I highly recommend it. I don't use anything else ever, just this guy. You're going to need some faux fur yarn for your border. This is Red Heart's Hygge fur, I think. As you can see, I got it on clearance from Hobby Lobby. You want a fur that's not super thick. So like High-End Brands Go for Faux or We Crochet's Fable Fur or Hobby Lobby's For the Moment is going to be too thick and bulky. You want a dainty little furry yarn. This one is, it says it's a 5, but I think it's going off of like the whole width of this little guy. I would, in my brain, this is a worsted weight furry yarn. That's what my brain says. But this is what you want to go for. I will try to put up some yarn substitutions for you guys here on the screen. And as always, you're gonna need a pair of scissors, a tapestry needle, and a handful of stitch markers. You're probably just gonna need 4 stitch markers. I just grabbed a whole handful. I believe this is everything you're gonna need. The number of skeins that you're gonna need for your blanket depends on which size blanket that you make and which size yarn that you use. The chart is for a 5-ounce skein and the different blanket sizes. So if you got a 7-ounce skein of yarn, you're going to need fewer. So for the throw size, you're going to need 15 skeins of Yarn Bee Soft and Sleek. That should be enough. We did all of the math. My husband, my engineer husband, sat and helped me 2 nights in a row to try to do all of the math correctly. So that should be what you need to make this. So you can reference the chart to see how many skeins you need based on the size that you want. There are 4 sizes available, and you can just do some mental math to know if you want an in-between size, just do more or less. No need to go all out. We can just kind of estimate, guesstimate, and go from there. Also going to need the pattern and or the chart. I will put a link to the chart itself down below for you, and if you want to purchase the pattern, the chart is included in the pattern. I'll put a link to the PDF down below for you as well. Also go to the pattern on my blog at acraftyconcept.com, also linked below. Okay, now that all of that is out of the way, let's go ahead and grab our worsted weight yarn and our hook. For the sake of this video, we are going to be making this small swatch. Now this is set up to be the correct ratio for all of the other sizes listed in the chart. So to make your blanket bigger, check out the chart or the pattern or the blog post to get the right number of stitches and rows. I also included the correct number of border stitches, the first row of the border per size. So all of that is in the chart and the blog post. So we're gonna make one that's just like this here on screen today, and then we're gonna do our border together. So let's grab, I'm just using some spare yarn in the same color, so I don't have to get out a brand new skein to make this tiny little baby swatch. And we're gonna start by making a slip knot and chaining 16. You always want to start with an even number of chains. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So if you ever want to create a size that's different than what's on the chart, I recommend you do it. I recommend you just go for it and don't stress out over the numbers and just see what you come out with, and it'll be gorgeous. But you want to start with chaining an even number of chains. That's important. Now we're going to do row 1, which is going to be half double crocheting in each chain all the way down. So for the throw size, we would chain 175 and then do 174 half double crochets back down the chain. But for this little swatch, we're going to do 15. So you're going to skip the chain closest to your hook, and we're going to half double crochet down. I like to put mine in the back bump. So to find the back bump, this is the top of your stitches. To find the back bump, you're going to just kind of lean your work forward, and these little vertical bars connecting the V's from these stitches are the back bump. So we're going to yarn over, insert our hook, and skip the back bump closest to your hook and go into the second one. Insert your hook into that back bump, grab your yarn, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. That's a half double crochet. We're going to do that all the way down. You may notice that I yarn under instead of the traditional yarn over. I still said yarn over. This is just how I taught myself. You're just going to grab your yarn, right? This just makes mine a little bit twisted. It makes your finished piece a tiny bit smaller when you do it this way, but it's nothing to get worried about for this specific pattern. So you do you, I'm gonna do me. It's gonna all be fine, I promise. So we're gonna half double crochet all the way back down to the starting of our chain, and that's gonna give us 15 half double crochets. And this is row 1. Okay, last one. Now we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. For row 2, we're going to do half double crochets all the way down, but this time we're going to be putting our stitch in the camel hump. So if you look at the top of your stitches, this is normally where we would place our stitches. That's the normal location, but we're going to be going in the camel hump. So we're going to be going in this vertical bar down here. So you can see them all the way across your row. This is where we're going to be putting our stitch. So we're going to yarn over or under, insert your hook under that camel hump stitch, grab your yarn, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3. We're going to do that again. So going to yarn over, insert your hook in that stitch, the camel hump stitch, grab your yarn, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3. Okay, we're going to do that all the way down for a total of 15 for this swatch, but you're going to do whatever the total is for the size blanket that you're making. Please reference the chart. I worked really hard on it. This is the first time that my husband and I called on his engineering skills to help me design a pattern, because usually when I design a pattern, I make 15 different things. Like I make them into the different sizes, and then I like weigh them and measure them to get all the information. But I cannot make all these blankets in the same year, or we'll be here for 10 years trying to figure out this pattern together. So I called on his expertise, and it was lovely. I enjoy working with him. Okay, last one's a little funky because it's like a little bit weird, but just kind of grab where you think the camel hump should go. It's not going to make a big difference. Just like that. Then we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. Now you can see that the camel hump pushed the V of our stitches to the front of our work. So it pushed them forward, creating a really cool line. So this is going to give us some really fun texture on our finished blanket with these lines here. For row 3, we're going to do half double crochets again in the camel hump again, but to find it this time is a little bit different. So this is the camel hump, right? That's the one that we just went through, but we want to push our stitches to the front of our work, not the back. So we're going to go to the camel hump from the back. So we're going to yarn over or under, whatever, loop over your yarn on your hook, and then tilt your work forward, and then we're going to go in this way to pick up that loop. And I'll do it again. But that's where we're going to place our half double crochet. So yarn, tilt it forward, and then there's the loop. It's right in there. I hope that's not blurry. Let me I'll do it one more time. If that was blurry, I apologize. We'll do one more. Really, really slowly tilt your work, and you can see the horizontal bar. You see it? It's right there. It's right there. Oh, there it is. You see it right there, okay? That's where we're going to put our stitch. So yarn over, find that horizontal bar, and go under it like that. And that's where we're going to place our stitch. And then that is going to move these stitches forward, creating that gorgeous, gorgeous texture. I'm going to continue to do that all the way down. Okay, we're at our last one. It's going to be funky again, but you can see like that little cluster. This is the pretty V that we want forward, so I'm going to go in that little hump right there. The ends are weird, but you can make it work. See? Chain 1 and turn our work. Now we're going to do our bobble row. We're going to start by placing a single crochet in the first stitch. If you've been following me for any time at all, you know how much I love to bobble. You probably already know how to do this, but we're going to do it together just in case this is your very first time crocheting with me. If that is you, welcome. Please tell me in the comments this is your very first time crocheting with me. I'm very excited to meet you. So we're going to yarn over, insert our hook into the stitch, grab our yarn, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. That is the first portion of our bobble stitch. We're going to do that 3 more times for 4 little arms here. So yarn over, insert your hook into the stitch, grab your yarn, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. That's 2. We're going to do it 2 more times. That's 3, and last one. That's 4. Now we're going to yarn over and pull through all the loops on our hook, and then we're going to go directly into this next stitch for a single crochet. I like to give it a little tug right there, make sure everything's nice and tight, and place our single crochet there. Now you can see that your bobble is pooching out on the right side of your work. Bobble stitches always pooch out to the back. So we were looking at the wrong side, so it's pooching out to the back of our stitch, which is the right side of our work. Sometimes people struggle with my patterns because they say their bobbles aren't popping out on the right side. You just got to make sure you're paying attention to which rows we chain and turn and which rows we don't. For this one, we're chaining and turning after every row because it's made like this. But for some of my stitches, some of my patterns are made like this. So if you've ever wondered about that, that's your problem. Yarn over, we're going to do another bobble stitch. And so this whole row is going to go single bobble, single bobble, single bobble, all the way down, ending with a single because we have an odd number of stitches because we chained an even number of stitches. We do not want to end on a bobble because that will make our border all wonky. We don't want any wonky borders on our crochet blankets. So we're just going to continue to single bobble all the way down. Okay, I've got 2 stitches left. So we've got a bobble and then a single. Chain 1 and turn our work. And that is our basic repeat. So 3 rows of half double crochets and then a row of bobbles, making sure to put your half double crochets in the camel humps. So the next row of half double crochets is just going to be a regular row. This is the first row of our repeat. So we got 4 rows for the repeat. This is the first row. Our very first one was in the back bumps. Remember, we're not in a starting chain anymore, so it's just going to be a regular row of half double crochets just in the top of your stitches, just like normal, the most normal crochet thing ever. So we're going to half double crochet all the way down, and then we're going to start doing our camel stitches again. So that's going to be the repeat, and you're going to do that for the entire length of your blanket, and you're going to make sure to end on your 3 half double crochets. So don't end on a bobble row, but end with 3 half double crochets. And I will show you my other swatch. So imagine this is a full-size blanket, and we ended with our 3 half double crochet rows, right? Now, once we get to here, ignore these stitch markers. We're going to do that together. But once we get to this point in our work, so you repeat this for as many rows as you need to for the length of your blanket that you need, and then you'll have your finished blanket. This is my tiny little Polly Pocket blanket, and then we will get ready for the border. Okay, so now we are going to make our border, and row 1 of your border, one of my half double crochets came out. Row 1 of your border has already been, I already did the math for you, and it is on the chart, and I will pop it up on the screen now. And let's look at the throw size. So if you're making the throw size, so this is going to be the first row of our border stitches. We're going to do on the short sides, which is where your actual stitches are, and then the long sides are in the raw edge. On the short sides, we're going to have 173, then we're going to put 3 in the corner, then we're going to have 219, then we're going to put 3 in the corner, 173, 3 in the corner, 219, 3 in the corner. That's what we're doing for row 1 of our borders. And if you add all those together, that tells you how many stitches you should have. But if you're making a giant blanket, you're probably not going to be counting total stitches. You're probably just going to count one edge at a time, right? Let me show you how I like to do this to get organized. I'm going to put stitch markers in the first and last stitches of the first and last rows. So into the actual, well, that picked up some thread. Into the actual stitch right here under those 2 little V spots. That's where I'm going to put my stitch marker there. And then I'm going to put my stitch marker. Let's color code it. The top is getting blue and the bottom is getting pink. Put the second one there. And I haven't cut off my yarn yet. We will do that in a second. Put the third one here in that stitch, even though it's a little weird. And then this one over here is this last stitch. Now, these stitch markers are representing our corners. So that's where we're going to put 3 stitches together. If you look at the chart, you see there's 3 stitches in each corner. That means 3 single crochets in the corner stitch. 1, 2, 3 together. Okay, we got it. Now let's tie off with our worsted weight yarn. We're going to grab our scissors and cut it off and close her up. Now we're going to attach our fur yarn. If you do not want to do a fur yarn trim, you can do worsted weight. You can continue with the same color you've been doing, or you can change to a different color. I have a sample swatch of that. So this is kind of what it would look like if you wanted to do a worsted weight border. Still very pretty. Totally up to you. And you could also do it in the same color if you wanted to. This is just 2 rows. Our border is going to have 3 rows, but you can do as many or as few as you want. One of the glorious things about this versatile pattern. Okay, so I'm going to insert my hook into this stitch, and that's where I'm going to add my furry yarn. Pull it through and then just make a chain to add your yarn. That does not count as a stitch. Does not count. Now we are going to single crochet into the raw edge of our work. Now this part's very important. So if you're multitasking, give me your listening ears. Is what I would say with Ava, my 7-year-old. We need to crochet 4 single crochet stitches where these 3 rows of half double crochets are, and 1 where this bobble is. So you're going to have 5 single crochet stitches per repeat. That's where I got the number from. And then we're going to end with 4 at the top because we don't have our bobble, right? But half double crochets are taller than single crochets, so we need to add a little bit more here to make it spatially appropriate. So that's how you want, and it's hard working in the raw edge because it's you're kind of making it up as you go, which is why we're using the furry yarn, because it forgives any weird spacing, right? You're not going to be able to tell because furry yarn will hide it. So we need to single crochet 5 times to get to be in line with this. So let's come a little closer, okay? So making your own spots as you go. We're going to single crochet into the side of our stitches. So I'm going to go right here for my first one. And it's a little difficult until you get going. The first one is going to be a little weird. Okay, so that's where I'm going to place my single crochet. And I'm going to do this again with worsted weight yarn so you guys can actually see what's happening. So this is the faux fur yarn, but we're going to grab it. We're going to place our single crochet there, and that's 1. So this practice swatch it will have 19 single crochets along the tall side for the practice swatch that I'm doing, because each repeat here will give me 5, and then the last one will just be 4. So that's 1. Now we're going to do another 1, 2. The first one's weird because of where you're attaching your new yarn. 3. And I'm going to squeeze in another one here, because 5 should be this one, but we're already caught up. So I'm just going to squeeze in another one, because if you don't, it's going to like be buckly. So after this one, the next repeat will be better. So 4, and then 5 is right in line with our bobble stitch. Okay, that's important. Right in line with your bobble stitch is your 5th single crochet. Then we're going to do that again. 5, with the 5 being in line with the bobble stitch. How is it looking? Okay, so we're going to do 1 here, making our own spaces. 1, 2, and I'm going to go here for 3, and then we've got 4, and then we've got 5, which is right in line with our bobble. That's exactly what we want. 5. So now we've had 10 single crochets for that row. We're going to do 5 more and then 4 more over here. Why is it doing that? I'm going to have to, I think my coloring's getting weird. Okay, try again. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, yep, 4, and then our 5th one should be in the row with the bobble. Perfect. 5, and then we should have 4 left. 1, 2, 3, and 4, right into that weird chaining turn here. 4. Perfect. So that's the one side of our swatch. So it would be one of these two. So probably this one. I don't remember. That was the top. So it was probably this side over here. But you would have one side done. And we're to our first corner, which is going to be 3 single crochets together in this spot with this stitch. So I'm going to take out my stitch marker. I'm going to set it aside. And I'm going to place 3 single crochets in this stitch. It's very messy because it's our starting chain when in the back bump situation. It's a weird one. So I'm just going to do the best I can. Get the tail out of the way. We're going to place 3 right in here, right? So that's, Lord have mercy. 1, 2, and 3. Now, the middle one of the 3 stitches we just did, so second stitch, is going to have the stitch marker in it because that is our new corner. That stitch, the next round of border, will have 3 single crochet stitches in that stitch. Okay, now we're going to continue to single crochet across. So now we should have, for this one, we should have, it's 15 stitches, but 2 of the stitches are used for corners, so it's only going to be 13 single crochets across. So yours is going to be whatever size that you're doing, but if you're doing the throw, it's going to be 173 because there's 175 stitches. 2 of them are used for the corner, so there's going to be 173. So we're going to go across. For me, it's just going to be 13 for this swatch, the little baby blanket. 1, 2, 6. I think this is working with the faux fur so you can see what's happening. 7, but if you need to see it with the worsted weight, let me know and I'll do another video. 8, 9, let me know in the comments. 10, and your wish will be my command. 11, 12, and 13. Now we are back to our stitch marker. Don't you love it when your math works out, especially while you're videoing? Glorious day. Okay, now we're back to our corner. So we're going to place, you guessed it, 3 stitches in this corner stitch. 1, 2, and 3. Place our stitch marker into the middle of the 3. So that was 1. This right here is where 2 is. You can see it, you can kind of feel it if you need to. in the middle one. So let me grab my other swatch. There's 3 stitches in the corner, 1, 2, 3. The middle one is where we're going to put our stitch marker. So we can use our corner to put 3 stitches in for round 2, row 2. Okay, now we're back to the other long side, which is the raw side of our work, which is where we're going to do our 5, 5, 5, and then end with 4, remember? So we already did that on this side. We're going to do it again on this side, making our own stitches, making our own spaces for our hooks to go. So we're going to do 1, 2. I'm trying to go in the actual stitches and not just around them as best I can. 3, then 4, and then our 5th one is where our bobble is. Perfect. 3, and then 4 goes into the side right here. 4. Now we are back to our corner. So we're going to take the stitch marker out and pay attention to where the actual stitch is so you don't get confused. But we're going to take the stitch marker out, and that's where we're going to place our 3 single crochets. Oh my goodness, I was so intentional. Then look. Okay, same spot. Oh, okay. 1, 2. If you wanted to, you can go ahead now and put that stitch marker right in the second stitch that you just did. Okay, if you're having a hard time finding it after you do all 3. And then we're going to do one more in the same exact spot for 3. And then we have 13 single crochets and then one more corner over here. And then we're done with row 1 of our border. So 13, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. Back to our stitch marker for our last corner. Go ahead and pop it out. Okay. 1, 2, that's our new corner. Go ahead and save it so we don't lose it. And then one more time for 3. Beautiful. Then we're going to join into the top of our first single crochet that we did. Join here and then chain 1, and then we are ready for round 2 of our border. Isn't it pretty? I love faux fur. I love using faux fur. So now we're going to do round 2. So the rest of the rounds are going to be significantly easier because you just know to put 1 single crochet in each single crochet and then 3 where the stitch marker is. So each round is going to increase a little bit because we're putting 3 in each corner. So we're getting 2, 4, 6, 8 extra stitches per round. So the next round is going to be a little bit weird. So it's going to be a little bit weird with the corner because we're going to have 1 more stitch here before we join into the first. So we're going to do, it's going to be weird, but all sides, these 2 sides and these 2 sides will add 2. So this one we did 19. So this side will have 21 stitches total. The last one will be up here because it's in this corner bit. So it's a little weird for this side, but this side will be perfect. They're both going to be perfect. I mean, counting will be perfect, easier. So this one will be 21, and then we'll have a corner, and then this one will be 15, and then we'll have a corner, and then 21, and then a corner, and then 15, and then a corner, and then the last stitch to make that 21, and then we'll join into the top. And then the third one will be a little bit different, adding for each row of the border that you do. But that's basically it. And you can make your border as thick or as small as you want. If you do 3 rows, that's going to be how the numbers were made up in the graph that goes with this video. It was for 3 rows of border. So if you look back at the picture, you can see it says the throw size is 175 stitches by 175 rows. It will give you 15, you need to use 15 skeins of yarn, and that will give you a blanket that is 54 inches by 65 inches approximately. That is with the border, with a 3-row border, because that gives you 6 more inches on the blanket. A 3-row border does. So if you want to add more to your blanket, like size-wise, but you don't want to change this, you can add more border rows. That would be totally fine. I recommend 3. I think 3 looks really good, and I can show you that on, I'll pop up a picture of the original blanket that I made. It had 3, I'll show you. So this is the full blanket that I made, and that's what it looks like with 3 rows. Very pretty. This is the same faux fur yarn that I'm using on the swatch that you're looking at today, but 3 rows I think makes it look really, really pretty. I think 4 would be pretty too. So you can keep going, make it as furry as you would like. But that is all that you need. It's fairly simple. This would be a really good project for watching TV, or you could, if you like to crochet in the car, unless your blanket gets out of hand, it's gonna be pretty big depending upon the size. But it's a really good mindless project because you just keep putting 1 stitch in each space all the way up. And then when you do the border, all you got to do is put 1 stitch in each space unless there's a stitch marker, and then you put 3. So I love mindless crochet. I think the finished piece is absolutely stunning. The drape with this size hook with this brand of yarn is so comfy and cozy. The blanket itself is like stretchy, so it just kind of contours to your body when you're wrapping around, and it is very, very soft. So I hope that you love it as much as I do. Also, don't be afraid to play with the color combos. You could do a striped version like the original Crafty Boho Bobble blanket pattern, which was made with bulky yarn. It was made with striped, and I just changed every one of these groups was a different color. You could make just your bobbles a different color. Like, the options are absolutely endless. How pretty would it be to do, like, oh my gosh, you could do like a temperature blanket if you wanted to, where every color is different. Gorgeous. There are so many things that you can do with this. I hope that you love it and you have so much fun, and you make these for your Etsy shop if you wanted to, or just for your family, or as gifts for people that you love. Last thing before I head over and do the closing out combo with you, I did create a freebie to go with this pattern. You can get blanket tags to attach to the corner of your blankets when at markets, or even to package them, like if they order them on Etsy, so they can see the size of the blanket that they got and the care instructions for how to care for the blanket. It comes with wash on gentle, lay flat to dry. That's the instructions for the yarn that I used here. If your yarn has different instructions, you might need to edit the PDF. I do have a tutorial to show you how to edit the PDF. I will link to that down below for you as well. But if you sign up to my email list, you get the product tags absolutely free. So I'll put a link down below so you can sign up to my email list and grab that freebie before you leave. I'm going to show you what the finished blanket looks like in all of its full-size glory. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you love this pattern. I cannot wait to see your Crafty Boho Bobble blankets over on Instagram. You can tag me at A Crafty Concept if you share a pic, and I will do my best to like and or comment and or share over on my platform. While you're still here, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single video. I release business tips for crocheters and free crochet patterns regularly here on this channel. As always, if you have any questions or concerns, feel free to leave them in the comments section below. I will try my best to answer every single one of them. I hope you have an amazing day, an amazing week, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, friends.